I don't know how much winning this game actually means, but I still think there are a good number of individual positives the Avs can take out of this game. Avs win over the New Jersey Devils 3-0.
Oh! Como has a breakaway.
This game does need to be qualified a little bit. The Devils are definitely driving the tank right now, and the Avs, while it's not looking likely, are still trying to win games and get into the playoffs, so a loss here would have been pretty much unacceptable, but they managed to get the job done. The biggest individual positive out of this game for me is Philip Grubauer. He posted his third shutout in 5 games and has looked great through all of those 5 games. Sure, some of the teams he's played against have not been doing that well this season and maybe are a little bit on the tank ride, but still, he's looking better and better in an Avs jersey, and that is huge for this team going into next season. A month ago, the Avs had a gigantic question mark in what they were going to do in goal next season, and while that answer hasn't been totally resolved, with each game Grubauer plays and looks solid in, it's a little bit less concerning. The game itself had its usual Avs staples. The one consistent negative we continue to see is the Avs failing to score on a number of opportunities in the first period. That's one of the biggest things that they need to solve. A little bit more consistency in getting a lead early would do wonders for this team. That, and of course the continued woes of not being able to score on the power play. There are no goals in the first period. The Avs do look pretty dominant, and New Jersey didn't even really get any quality chances though. What we do see against these tank teams is that the Avs are able to keep the pressure up going into the second period. This is something they should be able to do. In fact, it's something they should be able to do against better teams than this, but you have to start somewhere. And McKinnon doing McKinnon things is something the Avs can rely on. Andrigetta rims this puck around the boards to the far side where McKinnon picks it up and just decides that he's going to play keep away along the boards, fending off 2 Devils for a long time. He does eventually take a bit of a poke check here, but manages to recover with an absolutely sick kick of this puck back to his stick with his left skate. From there, he's going to nutmeg tan Grady, which just looks absolutely filthy. He can't quite recover as he gets chopped at by a Devil here, but Barry has recognized the play is coming across the high slot here and is skating into the open space. He picks up the puck that McKinnon can't get to and finishes posting in. The Avs certainly do not lack individual skill. In fact, they have so much of it that it can do the job a lot of the time by itself. Insane plays like that one are not ones you expect to see consistently, and funnily enough, it's one of the most consistent parts of the Avs game. This team is always capable of making the great plays. It's about tuning everything else up to get to where they need to be. The rest of the second was pretty sleepy, mired down by the fact that the Avs took 3 penalties in the period, which is bad, but again, the Devils just weren't much of a threat. And then, halfway through the period, the hockey gods must have realized the Devils were tanking and helped them out a little bit. Barry's just going to throw a shot kind of towards the net here. It's really not that dangerous. You do have Kerfoot standing in front being a nice screen, but you're going to see this puck first go off of Severson's skate right in front, and then ricochet a second time off of Zajak's skate right into that open net past Schneider. That's a free one. The goal does end up getting credited to Tyson Barrie, and that's his 50th point on the season. That one came pretty easy, but 50 points is still a big number, especially for a defenseman. This is his second season in a row with 50 points, which is fantastic for the Avs either way. Either you keep him and you expect 50 plus points out of him, or you trade him and you get the value of a 50 plus point defenseman. This year there are currently less than 10 defensemen with 50 points on the season, and Barrie was in the top 10 in scoring last year as well. Regardless of his shortcomings on defense, that offense holds a ton of value. Comfer also hits a post in the second period to bring us 57 bad ones on the season. Last year we had 64, so there's still a chance the Avs could catch that number. The third period was mostly both teams just going through the motions of getting this game over. Eventually McKinnon does dump it into the empty net, his 37th goal of the season and 91st point. And another individual bright spot there, Nathan MacKinnon is on pace to score over 100 points this season. That keeps him in the top 5 in the league in scoring and is very similar to the pace he had last season as well. If you told me MacKinnon would keep that pace up for this entire year at the start of the season, I'd have taken it 100 times out of 100. Again, for a team that has a ton of inconsistencies, you can even argue that night in, night out, MacKinnon has struggled to be consistent at times, but his production is there. It's simple as that, and it's a huge thing. Odds are certainly low. It's not impossible for the Avs to make the playoffs, but they would have to go on a big run and would need significant help to get there. So again, I'll look at that if it starts to become more realistic. As of now, I'm not too worried about it. I'm looking at individual efforts and seeing where our players are progressing. And in line with that, the Avs have recalled AJ Greer using one of their 2 call-ups left, which is great to see. Hopefully Greer can play a lot for this team down the stretch and get even more comfortable at the NHL level. Once he's played a bunch, if the Eagles do in fact make the playoffs, they can send it back to the Eagles and he can play in those AHL playoffs as well. It's a win-win. It remains to be seen how they'll use that last call-up. There are a couple of options there, but we'll just have to wait and see. Either way, I do hope they use it soon and can get someone some NHL experience that they desperately need. That is the end of this game video review. Thank you for watching, and as always, a very special thank you to all of my contributors on both PayPal and Patreon. I appreciate all of you guys so very much. If you want to join some of the names you see here on screen, there are links in the description where you can send me a couple of bucks if you really do like my content. I'm Rudo3, and it's nice to remember sometimes just how good some of the Avs players are.